Chicago Restaurant Week is a celebration of our vibrant food scene here with deals across the city and suburbs. Jen White, content creator and influencer, here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today. It's so great to see you.
It is so great to see you. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited about this.
Awesome. Well, you can find Jen at It's Me, Jen White on Instagram and Jen White on TikTok. Tell people a little bit about the content that you create.
Absolutely. So it's not strictly, it's lifestyle content with a focus on my life in Chicago, my 40-something life. So I tend to go to a lot of restaurants, cocktail bars, and I love to show my audience, kind of where I go, the new spots, the classics. And yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Because I try to keep up with as many restaurants as possible. When I look at your page, I'm always like, oh, this looks delicious. This cocktail looks delicious. This meal looks delicious. Like, you are a trendsetter here in Chicago.
That is very nice of you to say. I sometimes find myself going out to eat quite a few nights a week. So,
well, we're here to talk about Chicago Restaurant Week. Let's tell people it starts January 19th, goes through February 4th. It's 17 days, so plenty of chances to go ahead and check it out. $25 for brunch or lunch, and then dinner's $42 or $59, kind of depending on the spot and what they may offer. ChooseChicago.com is where people can find out all the participating restaurants, as well as a sneak peek of the menus as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a whole process trying to figure out the strategy of where to go, when to go, all of that. And luckily it is longer than a whole week, as you said.
Oh, exactly. And one thing too is that you want to make sure you got an open table or whatever reservation system that a particular restaurant is using, because especially on weekends, these are going to fill up, especially if it's an incredible deal.
Yeah, and on Choose Chicago's website, you can click through to reservations there. So if you just want a one-stop shop of all of that, you can go on their site.
And you've already kicked it off, Volare. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
It's a Chicago classic. Have you been?
I've been, yeah. It's been a while, but I've been, yeah. Chicago
classic restaurant where, the food is delicious. The service is, you really can't beat it. I love the, Chicago spots that have been around forever. And we had ourselves a night, cocktails, amazing, dirty martini, wine. And then we just ordered so much for the table. Some of the items that we ordered are not on the restaurant week menu because we couldn't help ourselves, but you really can't go wrong. There's a spinach ricotta ravioli, delish. And so many other items. It's a place that, I don't know, once you go there once, you're like, I see why this has been around for so long.
It's a great way to check out some of those classics, like you said, because sometimes you take them for granted. I think a lot of people kind of look for the new restaurants and they want to go to the latest and greatest thing, which is a great thing to go ahead and check out a restaurant week menu, because if you've never been, it's a great way to do that. But also, you don't want to forget about the reason why Chicago's such a big food town.
I totally agree. So when I'm looking at what restaurants to go to, that's what I'm keeping in mind too. Okay, what are the classics that I haven't been around or been to in a long time? Let's go to those.
What is your strategy? Do you look for particular cuisine? Do you look for a particular neighborhood? Is it kind of the friend that you're meeting up with on where you might go?
That is a very good question. And I feel so I have my own strategy. So I'll be eventually posting a list, which soon. I thought, okay, let's start with the neighborhood I live in, which is West Loop. What do I want to check out in my neighborhood and kind of figure that out for, lunch, brunch, and dinner. And then I went cuisine. I love Italian food. I love steak. I love Greek. There's a lot that I don't or that I do love. So I feel for me, it was first my neighborhood. And then the strategy was, let's go by cuisine and then see what's available for all of Restaurant Week, in all the neighborhoods.
This is completely off topic, but I was in the West Loop the other day, and we went out to eat, and there's a ton of restaurants on Restaurant Row right there along Randolph in Madison. But I was like, I haven't been to Greektown in a minute. So we went to a Greek restaurant, and it was so wonderful. And I was like, this is why this neighborhood became so popular. But I wanted to go check out, Monteverde, Bar Siena, one of my, Voodoo Donuts, of course, a new addition to the neighborhood. Of
course, yeah.
But
pro tip, go on a weekday morning to Voodoo Donuts.
That's a secret?
Yes.
And have you seen the line kind of be crazy on the weekends still?
No, I haven't as much, but I have to say the only reason I would see it is my workout class it's kind of I have to walk past Voodoo Donuts on my way there and then walk past it on my way home. So I on Saturdays, yeah, it's pretty busy, but I found on a weekday morning, you're going to be able to walk in right away, especially in this weather. It's nice to not have to wait outside.
That's discipline right there, having to go to a workout class and pass Voodoo Donuts and to come back.
There are a lot of spots. I mean, we're talking Shake Shack. We've got oh my gosh, there's so many. Do Right Donuts is right there. It is serious discipline. I just put my head down and go.
But as far as restaurant week, like I'll tell you, I just wrote an article about my top favorites. Lou Malnati's, I like it because it is a pizza. It's an appetizer. You can also do a dinner special, but you get lunch and dinner, and you can do carry out, delivery, or dine in, which is, I think, a nice option for people.
Have not seen that option for anyone else. I don't, maybe they've done it in years past, but when you sent that to me, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a great deal. Like, takeout, obviously, like an amazing option. I don't know, maybe there's a couple other restaurants doing that. I'm not really sure, but it is a really good deal. And I mean, might as well. Like for two, I would probably, like, it's just me, like I'd probably order it anyways, and then I'd have a few meals for it. It looks really good.
I mean, and this is something, especially, for the parents that are watching, is that sometimes, you still want to go to restaurant week, but with the kids and everyone's schedules, it's a little bit easier to pick it up and bring it home than sometimes it is to gather everybody and go to a restaurant.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I don't want to just go sit at Malnati's by myself with like a deep dish pizza. I mean, I do, but yeah.
You can always call me. I'm always available for Lou Malnati's.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Yeah. But that looks like a great deal. And then, Beatrix.
Yeah.
Because they're including cocktails in their, what is it? Their brunch and their dinner.
Yeah. I love that. It's a cocktail, appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. So I felt like having like 4 different options was a great value, especially at $42.
And they have so many locations.
Yeah.
I think it was for all their locations except for the Loop one, but the Loop one's a little different anyway. But there's one here in West Loop. So
yeah, there's 5 different locations, including the one in Oak Brook. So if you're out in the suburbs, you can still take advantage of that one. And I believe the Loop is doing everything but brunch. So I think they're doing lunch special, but they don't have the brunch special, which is fine. You can go to one of the other ones. There's plenty of other ones around Chicagoland.
Exactly. Yeah, it's still great. I love it.
Another one was Tuco and Blondie, which is on Southport in the Lakeview neighborhood, which I love because it's also the same thing. You get a margarita, appetizer, entree, and a dessert. Come on.
I feel like a liquid lunch. That makes a lot of sense. Like it sounds so good. And I love Tuco and Blondie. I think it's a great spot. So I'm happy to see they're like on the restaurant week list.
Yeah. I mean, are you looking at like other restaurants too, as far as like maybe steak or sushi or maybe something that you might splurge on that you normally don't get?
It's funny that I have like a whole list here, and like trying to narrow it down is like a little bit crazy. But yeah, I think in general, so like one that stands out to me, and I can't believe I haven't been yet, is Alavita. I always see it packed. People say incredible things. And I'm like, okay, what a good reason, to go. It's restaurant week. But yeah, I think a lot of it is part of like a place maybe that I haven't tried before, or one that is typically pretty expensive. And you're like, you know what? I want to go for the restaurant week menu, get that deal, try a bunch of items on their menu. And, I mean, Monteverde's on there. It's hard enough to get into that restaurant. Then they throw a restaurant week on top of it. I can take my chances. If you want to meet me outside in the cold, we'll just wait until they open their doors and see if we can get in.
Chef Sarah, please let us in.
Yeah, I met her at a book signing a few weeks ago, and I'd be like, "Remember me?" I don't think it will, but she's really sweet.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's one of my favorites here. Monarch and Lion. You talked about going to that place. Tell me, brunch, lunch, dinner. What are you doing there?
I'm going for dinner on later this week. And so that's a place that my friend Katie is also a content creator, and she's like, all right, we're like, what's our strategy? And so she chose Monarch and Lion. And yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's a British pub. I think I have been there. It was many, many years ago, but I want to try different items on their menu and just kind of like, see what it's all about again.
Awesome. I mean, because you talked about Monteverde, but also Rosemary, which is another hot spot there in the West Loop, is also doing restaurant week. The Bellevue, which is a new spot that just opened up in Gold Coast, has a restaurant week as well too. Sushi San is also on my list. I have not been there in a while, so I'm excited about that.
I'm like looking at my list. I'm like, okay, there's some really Daisy's is on there. Have you been to Daisy's?
No, and I want to try that Wiener Circle promotion thing they're doing before it ends.
Totally. You should definitely do that. Daisy's is incredible. I've been there a bunch of times, not during restaurant week, but in general, really, really good. There's some other like French restaurants. Went to Bistronomic this summer. Food was incredible. And it's a place that I always walked past. You know, I feel like I'm always shopping and just like in the area. I stopped in there and they have a great restaurant week menu. So I want to check that out too.
Yeah, the chef is amazing. That spot is amazing. I've been there for brunch like multiple times, but I got to get there for dinner because their brunch is incredible. But I got to plan a nice evening around
Their dinner,
around
it's so good. And the service, it's another one of those places where the service is so good. Another place which you mentioned you were in Greektown. I don't know which spot you went to, but I believe I think Athena is on there. Is on
Oh,
Restaurant Week. Yeah. Which not to be confused with Athenian Room, which is also delicious, but Athena is like
Athenian Room is where I went to. Athena, I did not go to, so that was the.
okay, there
I
you
should
go.
check that
So
one
that
out.
is
Yeah,
like a 2 block walk for me, which makes it very easy to get to. I would just sit at the bar and do the restaurant week by myself.
are you a big brunch person?
You know, I'm not, and I will tell you why. Because I like all 3 meals. And if I do brunch, then I have to choose. And I don't like if it's my first, I don't hate brunch. Like I go out to brunch, but I like breakfast is its own meal and then lunch and dinner. I don't know. It's just me.
Well, I used to do that on my birthdays that I would make brunch plans and then dinner plans. And if you
Yeah.
went too hard at brunch, you're like, I need a nap. I'm not hungry.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
throws you off. Like if I don't have evening plans, that's a really good point. Then I will be like, okay, well, go to brunch at noon, have like unlimited mimosas, all of that. And then yeah, a light dinner at that point and not being able to go out after all those mimosas. So yeah, it's not that I don't like brunch. I just prefer to, enjoy each meal separately.
Enjoy and that brunch is, you might sit at a restaurant for an hour and a half, but depending on how many mimosas you have, it could be a whole 6 or 7 hours that
It's
you kind
usually
of
a
lose out of
day.
that.
Yeah, it's usually a day at that point. You're like, I'm going out for the rest of the day. Brunch starts it off.
It
Yeah,
either starts off the rest of the day or it's nap time, and then you might wake up for dinner for a little snack.
exactly.
Um, and then as far as like venturing out of your normal neighborhoods, I mean, sometimes we have our favorites of like, oh, I haven't been here in a while, or this is my favorite
Yeah.
place. This is also a great way to get people to like out of their comfort zone that maybe you may not travel to a particular neighborhood, but hey, let's go check it out and see what that restaurant scene is all about.
100%. And that's why like Daisy's is up in Logan Square. Love that. Andros Taverna is on the list as well. I don't know if have you been there yet?
I have not been there, no.
I like Mediterranean and Greek food. So Andros, I would definitely check that out. It's on Restaurant Week. But I feel like Logan is an area where there's just so many new restaurants and so many great spots. And like it's not like it's far from the West Loop, but it gets me to another neighborhood.
Well, that's a hard part too, especially with me going to like neighborhoods that I used to like be in like all the time, is that you want to go visit your old favorites, but then there's
Yes.
new places. You're like, I need to do a staycation here because there's
Yeah.
too many spots I want to hit up on one night and I can't do it all.
That's actually so interesting. Yeah, it's like a balance between the classics, the ones that you just like love, and then trying new spots. But I think overall, the restaurant week list, there's so many. I forgot, maybe you know how many restaurants there are to choose from. It's like an insane number. But you can really plan it. And because it is longer than an actual week, like you have time.
Yeah. It's over 350 restaurants
Yeah.
that are participating. And we'll just go through some of the main or we have steakhouses, Italian, sushi, seafood, French, Mexican, Mediterranean, American, Indian, tapas. And you can just go ahead and select that. So if that's one of your favorite food groups, you can just see where all the restaurants are. You can also go by neighborhood. So you can kind of filter it out through there, as well too. But
I think that's the smartest way to do it. I mean, I love how they've organized it this year because that's what I was doing. I'm like, okay, when you were asking me my strategy, I'm like, when I went on the site, I first started with, let's go West Loop dinner. Okay, West Loop brunch. And then it was in categories like, oh, there's Greek. It's like a category. What Greek restaurants, and there's not too many in the city. So it kind of narrows it down for you. So I think that is the best strategy to figuring out where you want to go. And if you live, in the suburbs, or you want to venture out to the suburbs, check out some of their places, you can narrow it down by that too. So that's nice.
yeah, I like that part. And what, my strategy also is talking to a friend who maybe I haven't seen in a while
Yes.
and picking about that neighborhood. Or if I'm going to something, like I'm going to 2 nights of Madonna at the United Center. So I'm like,
You're going to 2 nights?
I did it 2 nights.
I love that. I love that for
Yeah.
you. That's amazing.
I was like, I'm gonna live my best life, but I was like, two dinner reservations, so I made them both in the West Loop because like I'm already gonna be there and I don't want to travel from another neighborhood.
Where,
So
what did you decide on?
Monteverde and Beatrix.
I'm so jealous you got into Monteverde. That's amazing.
I,
Yeah, those are both great choices.
yeah, I mean that was it's gonna be an early dinner that night, and it's gonna Madonna doesn't come on till like 10:30 at night, so it's gonna be a
Maybe
long
an
day.
espresso martini. I think you might need to add that on, or two. That might help you.
Yeah, that might help me keep. I gotta vogue the rest of the night, so I have to keep my energy up.
Oh my gosh, that's very exciting.
Awesome. Well, Jen, thank you so much for your time today. ChooseChicago.com is where you go ahead and find that list of restaurants that are participating in Restaurant Week, January 19th through February 4th. And keep up with Jen on It's Me, Jen White on Instagram and .Jen White on TikTok. And we'll see you at one of these restaurants really soon.
I love it. So great to see you.
You too. Thank you.